Hi, everyone, and a warm welcome back to Mindsprout Books, the channel where we explore holistic self-development through the wisdom of books. Have you ever had an experience like this? You feel amazing because you've had a highly productive morning. You managed to focus on and complete an important task, and you're thrilled with the results without feeling the least bit tired. Or perhaps, while reading a book or doing something you truly love, you become so completely absorbed that you lose track of everything around you. Time seems to stand still, and when you're finished, you're filled with an incredible sense of joy. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi calls this state of losing oneself the optimal experience, or flow. He explains the concept in detail. When an individual is fully immersed in an activity, a feeling of exhilaration and deep satisfaction arises. At this moment, every action and thought flows seamlessly one after the other, like a current of water, and one's potential is unleashed to its fullest. Flow is the catalyst on each person's path of development. When you enter a state of deep focus, you meet an incredibly powerful version of yourself. If you're on a journey to elevate and develop yourself, I believe this book is absolutely essential for you. You might be wondering, haven't you already discussed the book Flow before? That's right, but today is a special episode. I'm going to talk about this state once again. There are two reasons I'm creating more content on this book. First, many of you have written to me asking for more ways to apply the state of flow in your daily lives. Second, flow is an outstanding work of psychology, a scientific masterpiece that synthesizes the lifelong research of psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, so it's worth revisiting multiple times. The previous video on this book was made when the channel was just starting out. The content was brief, and the audio quality wasn't the best. That's why I decided to create a new video to offer a better experience for everyone. If the last video was about how to find true happiness, this new one will focus on how to use the optimal experience of flow for self-development. All right. Now I invite you to listen to the content titled, The Fastest Way to Level Up Yourself Through the Modern Psychology Masterpiece, Flow. Jim Kwik, author of the book Limitless, conducted a survey and found that the majority of successful executives reported that they could regularly maintain a peak state. During these times, their work performance was 4 times higher than average. This peak state is the experience of flow. In his book, the author mentions a case as follows. An ordinary worker on an assembly line in a factory felt his job was incredibly boring. When he went to work, his mind would always wander to unrelated matters, such as worrying about a flat tire, the unrepaired electrical appliances at home, or even recalling recent gossip. He frequently couldn't keep up with his colleagues, leading to criticism from his superiors, salary deductions, and a generally unsuccessful work life. In contrast, another worker loved what he did. Compared to sitting around gossiping or daydreaming, he found every day at the factory fascinating. When immersed in his work, joy would surge within him, motivating him to constantly think of ways to complete his tasks faster and better. Typically, assembling a component unit took about 43 seconds. However, to break the record, he strived every day to practice with the utmost concentration. Gradually, he found it easy to maintain focus, even to the point of being completely undisturbed by the conversations and jokes around him. Ultimately, in a state of complete focus, he shortened the assembly time to just 28 seconds, earning recognition and praise from his superiors. From this story, we can see that in the same environment and under the same conditions, two workers had completely different outcomes. The difference lies in the fact that one could easily block out distractions, maintain focus, and experience work in a state of flow, while the other could not. The Russian educator Ushinsky once said, "Attention is the only doorway to our soul." Everything in your consciousness must pass through attention to go deeper inside. This means that attention is the beginning of all psychological activity and the foundation of your cognitive functions. If you can't open this door of attention, you will lose connection with your inner consciousness. When you can't go inside, you can't know your own potential, who you will become, what kind of life you will have, or what your mission is. Furthermore, as the author states, the very thing that is making your life less than you wish it to be is chaos. Research has found that whenever we do anything without focus, a phenomenon of internal disorder occurs, also known as psychic entropy. Entropy disrupts your mind, leading to the disintegration of consciousness and the self, thereby reducing your performance in both learning and work. Therefore, to develop ourselves, we must find ways to counteract entropy by increasing the frequency and density of our flow experiences. And the first core element to entering that state of flow is complete concentration. The first book I chose to share was Deep Work, followed immediately by Flow, because the content of these two books is almost complementary. The profound lesson woven between them lies in intense concentration. When you practice focusing completely on one thing, it's as if nearly every knot in your life can be untangled. You can enhance your abilities, turning them into a core strength that cannot be replaced, and your life will become significantly happier. This isn't an overstatement. I'll share this with you based on my own years-long journey of honing my ability to concentrate. If you've listened to the summary of Deep Work, you'll know there are 4 strategies one can use to achieve deep concentration. The first is the rhythmic strategy. Here, we set a fixed schedule to dedicate ourselves fully, making it a daily habit. For example, spending 90 minutes every morning without your phone, focusing your entire mind and heart on your work. If any worries arise, write them down, fold the paper, and tell yourself you won't think about them during your designated time. The next strategy is the bimodal approach, where we alternate between periods of deep work and shallow work. For instance, dedicating 4 days to focus completely on solving an important issue, and using the remaining 3 days for miscellaneous tasks that require less intense concentration. The third strategy is the monastic approach. With this strategy, we act like monks, cutting off all contact with the outside world and isolating ourselves in a separate environment. This strategy is often suitable for those in creative fields. I've tried all 3 of these strategies, but I ultimately found that the most difficult, yet most effective, is the journalistic strategy. Mastering this strategy gives us the flexibility to shift into a state of high concentration and deep work at any moment in our schedule. When you can do this, your ability to focus becomes stronger than ever, helping you achieve high performance. Connect deeply with all activities with intention, and live a life that is more fulfilling, moment by moment. I used to be someone who found it very difficult to concentrate with noise around. I needed to lock myself away in a quiet corner to work and read effectively. However, upon moving to a new living, studying, and working environment, I no longer had large blocks of time during the day for absolute focus. Juggling studies, work, reading, and content creation all became a major challenge for me. I believe many of you have faced similar challenges because modern life has fragmented our time so much. Therefore, training the ability to concentrate deeply at any moment is crucial. What helped me achieve this was the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness in eating, in walking, in brushing my teeth, in getting dressed. I treated every action in my daily life as an opportunity to connect more deeply with each moment. Mindfulness means bringing our consciousness to be present with every action we are performing, right here in the present moment. The teacher I followed in my practice is Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, by reading all of his books on mindfulness. After that, I practiced every day, reminding myself to be mindful in every word I spoke, and to use mindfulness when I was tired or dealing with anger. When you have cultivated focus and attention on the present in your daily tasks, you will gradually find it easier to concentrate fully on your work at any time. And if you can concentrate your mind completely, you will experience a selfless joy. Then, as mentioned in the book, the molecule of more, the here and now molecules will team up with dopamine, the molecule of expectation, compelling you to repeat that experience. The higher the concentration, the greater the satisfaction, leading to a positive feedback loop. Gradually, you'll notice you're no longer distracted by the complexities out there, no longer affected by irrelevant information. This profound, intrinsic joy acts as a powerful antidote to the chaos of the external world, and in turn, helps you escape your own internal turmoil. Every task, every action in this life requires you to step through the door of concentration and return to yourself. This is the first thing I want to share with you, so you can easily focus, immerse yourself in a state of flow, and thereby enhance your work performance, unlock your potential for continuous growth, and, most importantly, experience a deep and profound inner joy. Besides building intense concentration, the second core element for experiencing the state of flow is the ability to do something with your whole heart and mind. However, the question here is, what kind of work allows us to be fully engaged so easily? The author points out that a state of flow only occurs when you are doing a task that is neither too difficult nor too easy for you. If it's too hard, you'll give up. If it's too easy, you won't be inspired to do it. The book, Awakening Consciousness, emphasizes that the best zone for learning and growth is at the edge of your comfort zone. This means you need to step out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself a little, but not go too far. Work in the vicinity of your comfort zone. These are tasks you can control easily, where your actions feel natural and fluid. Then, during the process, you'll feel at ease, not frustrated. Upon completion, you'll receive immediate feedback and a sense of satisfaction. This feeling of satisfaction isn't just a surface level, "Oh, I'm so happy I finished." It must be a deep satisfaction that comes from within. This means the work you are doing must achieve a harmony between your mind and your actions. It must not cause internal conflict. For example, if you force yourself to make a lot of money from a job that, deep down, you don't believe in, you despise the methods used to attract customers, then even if you excel and meet all your targets, you won't feel a deep sense of satisfaction. You'll only achieve a temporary pleasure from the release of dopamine, which pushes you to keep striving for a higher status and more respect from others. But even when you achieve those things, you'll ultimately feel empty inside. As the author says, chasing insatiable greed will never lead us to a state of flow. Therefore, choose a job that is not driven by desire, a job that is challenging but not overwhelming. Then, you can dedicate yourself wholeheartedly to the work. Combined with intense concentration, you will feel as if time disappears and you forget yourself, as though you are being carried along by a current. It is at this moment that you are experiencing the state of flow. However, some might argue that it's only possible to be wholeheartedly engaged in work you love. If you don't like a task, no amount of effort will work. I love a quote from Anne of Green Gables that says, "If you decide to have a good time, you can always have a good time." Conversely, if you start by thinking something won't be enjoyable, then it never will be. The author advises finding work you love and are passionate about. Then you can easily enter a state of flow with full dedication. In reality, if you have the opportunity to do work you are passionate about, you are incredibly fortunate. Seize it and continue to develop it. But of course, not everyone in this world can easily find a job they love. In this case, if you don't know what you like or haven't found your ideal job, it's best to follow the advice from the book, The World is Worth It. If you can't change your fate, you might as well love the job you have. Author Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi also concluded that when you can disregard what happens externally and simply change the content of your inner consciousness, you can decide whether you are happy or sad. This means that even with the most ordinary job, if you can focus on it completely and create flow experiences, you can make it interesting and meaningful for yourself. In other words, negative emotions and behaviors like boredom, lethargy, and laziness are not caused by the task itself, but by the false beliefs and subjective judgments you have about it. In fact, even when faced with a job you dislike, you can still find joy in it, provided you meet two conditions. First, start with a positive attitude. Stop complaining and stop seeing the job merely as a burden or a difficulty. Second, tell yourself that you like this job. For example, if you're afraid of math, to improve, as the book A Mind for Numbers suggests, you must first change your beliefs. Think that math is not scary at all, and that you love it. Similarly, as Tiny Habits points out, before forming any habit, first establish an identity for yourself. Imagine you are an expert in that field. Your identity will automatically guide you past your fears and help you form positive behaviors. This is similar to a technique Mihaly proposed, daydreaming. The daydreaming the author refers to is not the fanciful, unrealistic kind, but a purposeful, psychological self-suggestion. We see the power of self-suggestion in many successful people. A classic example is Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, who stands 6 feet 6 inches, 1.98 meters. In high school, he was only 5 feet 9 inches, 1.75 meters, and was once cut from the school's basketball team for being too short. His father was of average height, and his siblings weren't tall either. Genetically, it didn't seem likely for Jordan to grow much taller. But he was incredibly passionate about basketball and would quietly tell himself, "I have to grow taller, taller, taller." He wished to be taller every day, and because of that, tried everything he could, like jumping rope, hanging from pull-up bars, and ensuring he had a nutritious diet. Before long, a miracle happened. Within a year and a half, his height shot up from 5 feet 9 inches to 6 feet 3.5 inches, 1.92 meters. After that, he easily joined the school basketball team, began his career, and everything fell into place. You see, learning to daydream correctly involves imagination, self-suggestion, and then action. Without action, imagination is just a fantasy. Effective self-suggestion must have clear goals and a step-by-step plan for execution. These elements will help you work wholeheartedly and enter a state of flow with ease. The final way to help us enter a state of flow is to find it in solitude. After studying thousands of cases, author Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi came to a conclusion. A person who knows how to find flow in their life can find joy even in the most desperate of circumstances. The book tells the story of a woman in her 60s. After her husband passed away and her children grew up and moved away, she lived alone on a desolate island. The impermanence of life and death, coupled with the silent loneliness, left her feeling utterly helpless. She would often sigh or cry while reminiscing about her husband and children. During the long, endless nights, she would toss and turn, unable to sleep, feeling that every minute was a struggle. Then, to ease her pain, she began reading all kinds of books her husband had left on the shelves and started writing or drawing her thoughts. Unexpectedly, the rich stories and perspectives led her into a vast inner world. In this world, she could forget time and overcome her sorrow. These wonderful, rich experiences reignited her passion for life. Besides reading and writing, she also planted flowers, grew trees, and raised livestock near her home. She even put up a board where she wrote jokes she came up with, or drew maps to her house. She no longer dwelled on sad thoughts or got swept away by negative emotions. Her spirit grew stronger. Though she still lived alone, she no longer felt empty or helpless, because flow continuously filled the voids in her soul, protecting her from unnecessary depletion. Moreover, it guided her to a life of intellectual and spiritual growth in her final years. You see, solitude can be the best opportunity for us to discover a state of flow. Schopenhauer once said, "A man can be himself only when he is alone. When we are alone, we have the chance to quiet our minds, focus on one thing, and enjoy it. This is a high-quality solitude. However, in today's age of information overload, most people don't know how to be alone, let alone enjoy solitude. When alone, many people immediately reach for their phones, turn on a movie, or play a game to fill the void in their souls, while their minds are in constant turmoil with anxieties. The author says the main reason for this is our lack of strong internal discipline. Year after year, we become lazy, and our psychic entropy becomes increasingly chaotic. To counteract this entropy, we need to learn to enjoy solitude by adding color and interest to our lives through flow experiences. The author says almost any activity can generate flow, such as mountaineering, baking, learning to dance, gardening, sewing clothes, making things from scrap materials, and so on. These small hobbies and interests, outside of our busy daily work, become a sanctuary in your mind, helping to soothe complex emotions and allowing you to regulate and strengthen yourself. A person with a high capacity for self-healing, who can bounce back from difficulties, is someone who finds things to do even when they are alone and have nothing planned. Instead of chasing societal rewards, they constantly focus on enriching themselves, filling their lives with a series of meaningful, complete moments. Enjoy the pleasure, but don't let yourself become addicted or a slave to the pursuit of excitement. Additionally, to avoid mental chaos and prevent entropy from increasing, you need to keep your life in balance. Remember that anything taken to an extreme will become uncontrollable and create negative emotions. The author also points out another way to easily experience flow: enjoying art and increasing physical activity. As we continuously enhance our ability to appreciate art, we can more easily achieve a state of flow. For instance, listening to music seriously and with focus can cause our souls to resonate with the high-quality sound, helping us enter an optimal experience. Furthermore, physical activity is always a fantastic way to reduce stress. When we challenge our body's limits, negative emotions like boredom, fatigue, and dissatisfaction are released with our sweat, leaving behind a light body and a refreshed mind, making it easier to enter a state of flow and lift yourself out of suffering. There's a quote in the book, Flow, that I love. Anyone who can persevere through suffering and failure, their life will become a continuous flow. It is a series of experiences of complete, consistent, orderly focus that creates immense meaning and joy from that internal order. In the process of seeking flow, we inevitably have to endure solitude when facing problems alone or continuous boredom. But this hardship and struggle are only temporary. They are the necessary challenges for your growth. So, set clear, specific goals, concentrate deeply, love what you do, be wholehearted and patient, and you will become stronger than ever with the help of flow on your path of self-development. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who need it. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to catch the latest videos every week. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.